As always, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to Candid with Candy. I am your host, Candy. If there is a favorite story that you often share with friends and family and you want the world to know, please message me on Instagram. My handle is updated in the description below. Why me is a question that we often ask. We get impatient, curse ourselves, beat ourselves up. It's difficult to see the hidden blessings in a situation that is so messed up sometimes. You feel me, right? It's difficult, but not impossible. We will see that in Nicole's life. Let's give a warm welcome to this titan of a woman, Nicole L Glasco. Hi, Nicole. Thank you once again. And
Hey,
so lovely to have you back.
thank you very much for having me again.
Now, the next part of the story is everybody obviously is wondering, were you able to ever lead a normal life? I know you were traumatic for 6 months, probably just is a timeline that you gave, but I'm sure, that went on for quite a while, maybe even a couple of years. And then what
Mhm.
happened after that, if you could let us know?
As for let's start with the normal life. Definitely, I look at me today. I call myself a healed, victorious, person who has moved on in her life in spite of these traumatic things that have happened. And there's always a silver lining at the end of. I mean, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a silver lining. I conducted myself in as normal way as possible. I continued my higher education, focused on that. So we need to have a positive focus. So when we have that positive focus of our interest, maybe sometimes we have to push ourselves to have that interest, but
Right.
push ourselves we should. And life just eventually becomes that normal we were looking for. But what life is truly normal, right? We all have our little dramas here and there. So we don't need to overread those little dramas. We just have to accept it as normal, normal part of life.
Mhm.
Whether the hard or whether the happy, just it's let's embrace it. It's just normal. But as far as the truly traumatic experience that some women face after an ordeal like that, they would need help, professional help. Fortunately for me, uh, I don't know what's different about me in this, but I don't find that much help in psychologists or psychiatrists because they always tell me what I already know. I just have to apply it. We just have to apply what we already know. We have tremendous amount of resources online. We have so many, especially if we have a supportive family. It's those who don't have a supportive family who I'd kind of worry about, and they
Right.
need to find somebody supportive, Well, whatever I faced after that, I just took it in my stride, and I sometimes got angry, I sometimes got hurt, but it's a part of life. That's how I
Right.
accepted it. Mm.
That
That's pretty
is
much.
just, yeah, that's awesome. The way you came out of it, the victory that you just described. I'm so happy for you. And a little piece of happiness in the story. That's the turn that your story takes in when you decide to donate your eggs. So, if you could, and again, that is not something that is too common. You know what I'm saying? And I found it really nice, and it was quite a heartwarming story. So, if you could just spend a few minutes on that.
It was actually humorous how that came about. I didn't even know anything about egg donation when I first heard about it. I knew zero zilch. And that's pretty much how I came about donating my egg is when I started doing my own research. At that time, I'll just give you a short background of how I even got there. I finished my BD, my Bachelor of Divinity, okay, in India. And then after serving my church, the Baptist Church of Mizoram, for 1 year in Serkon, Mizoram, I went for further studies at Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California. So there I find myself doing my further studies, and I kept on wanting to reach for the highest there in my education. So I just had one single focus, one single goal, and I just wanted to keep on plodding on and not giving up on that.
Mm.
And one day, and this was an international, school, theological seminary with a lot of a huge international department. And one day in our department bulletin board, we see a bunch of us, we see this notice that said, European eggs needed. Okay. And I'm like, we all look there and we're just looking at that and we're like, what? How racist, what's wrong with our eggs? A lot of them were upset with this, but I saw phone numbers, hanging down on that advertisement, and I picked one, and I thought, okay, since I don't know anything about this, I want to get to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do my own research and find out why they want just European eggs. And so I called the number, and it was an egg donation Inc. Incorporation. And in those days, now it's more common to do those kinds of things, but in those days, it was very uncommon. It was like a hush hush kind of thing. Now it's very common. So I called this corporation and I asked them, what is this? What is egg donation? And what is this about, And they wouldn't give me any information, Candy. And because it was hush hush, like I said, they weren't going to give out any information unless I was a surrogate mom, unless I was the adoptive, the ones who are going to carry the baby, or the donor, So
you said, became a donor because of that?
Yes, because of that. Exactly.
Are you?
That's how crazy I was. I said, I cannot be a surrogate. I'm not a parent, and I'm not going to be the one receiving. The only option I have to find out more information about this curious subject is to be a donor. So I signed myself up as a donor, and I waited. And of course, they gave me all the information I needed, or I wanted. So basically, why did they want European eggs? Okay, it's because the parents who wanted to conceive were European. Okay, and if they carried a baby with a different race, they couldn't possibly pass that off as their own. Yes. And the idea behind egg donation and in vitro is to make the child as closely resembling the parents as possible, because the mother, the wife, is going to be carrying the child, not the donor, right? So it made sense to me. I was like, oh, like, Eureka, now I understand why they wanted European eggs. It wasn't a racist thing at all, so I was pretty satisfied. Forgot about the whole thing, I forgot I was a donor. 6 months later, I get a call. We found a match, they say. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? What match, And they said, we found a match for you, and this couple is asking you to be their donor. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't take my name out of the database. And I was appalled, and I was like, no. I changed my mind. I don't want to donate anymore. Can you please take my name out of the database? And they said, okay. I get a call again 1 week later. The couple insists that it's you that they want. Can you please reconsider? So I was curious, me, the term curiosity killed the cat. I sometimes think that's me. Sometimes it does kill me, my curiosity, but in this case, it did come out with some blessings, but I couldn't resist. I said, okay, can I know more about this couple? I made them write their own bio. Because for me, if I'm going to donate anything of me right now, except for my blood, I would like to know why. I mean, it needs to have more of a purpose, more of a meaning to my donation, right?
Right.
And when I read why they wanted, my heart just, melted. I just felt so sorry for the lady, especially the guy too. But more so for the lady, because she had endured abuse from her previous husband that destroyed her fallopian tube, one of them, and she couldn't get pregnant anymore, except in this way. I just fell in love with their story, pretty much. And my heart went out to her. She was a Filipino lady, and the husband was a Caucasian. So they had chosen me because my skin tone and my looks were similar to hers.
Mhm.
When she gave birth to the children, it would pass off as both of theirs. They would pass off, I should say, they. And so when I read their story, something in me just, awoke. It just woke up, and I'm like, I need to give to them. I just felt a need. And so I said yes, with a little bit of not knowing what the heck I was doing, yes, because I still didn't quite know the impact that would have on me later on.
Yeah.
I'll share about that later. Emily just said yes without thinking about it further, because there's no way you can think about it further since it's a new science and you've never heard about it and you've never experienced it. And you don't see it on YouTube like you do nowadays, you
Right.
know? And
And
so, yeah, so I did it.
yeah. And I heard they got twins.
Yes, and they did get twins. They planted two embryos, and and it resulted in a boy and a girl, and they're actually at this time they're 18 years old.
Wow.
They're so happy about the gifts they were given. I mean, money can't buy life, and so this couple has been truly amazing in their support or thanks, of me. And they've just they don't really owe me anything per se, but they feel they do. They feel like without me they would not have children, and they were so grateful. Until today they show it.
Money can't buy life, and you gave life, if I were to put it that way. And I don't think there's something higher than that, right? It's like that's it, you've arrived.
When I felt that they came from my body, though, the strange thing, I didn't even think about this when I first donated, but the strangest connection does exist.
Yeah.
Crazily knowing that they came from your biology,
Yeah. I'm sure.
and I didn't anticipate that. And here's the funny thing. Okay, I'll tell you the humorous side of it. Even as I'm thinking about it, I feel like laughing. Guys, when they make a baby, they, give their sperm. I mean, it's because of their sperm, the woman gets pregnant, blah, 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 blah. And it's the woman that carries the baby for 9 months or more, or a little less, and they give birth to the child, and so on and so forth. Now I know what a man feels like.
Uh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the feeling is
Actually, I
just
do.
as strong. Yeah, the feeling is just as strong. And so I know a man's point of view.
You
That,
did you did describe it well. It's you feel like the man in this, and yeah, there's no other way to describe it. You actually found the perfect comparison. The next part of the story is that you also get married, right?
yes,
Though you don't have biological children, but you have children. So that's the other
yes.
part of the story that I'm interested in. And yeah,
Okay.
if we can move to that, it's already been, it has been so eventful already. And as you call yourself, as you say it, your dramatic life, but yeah, your dramatic life doesn't stop here. So,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, let's move on to that segment.
Well, when it comes to having children, um, my story is both joyous and also sad at the same time, but it ends with the joyous. I met John back in 2005, 2004, actually. We met in face to face 2005. After 2 years of being married, we got pregnant, you know, but we lost that baby. And then I got pregnant after a year again. We lost that baby. So within the span of 5 years of being married, we lost five babies, and that's a whole different story again, the pain and the sorrow that came with it, and women who lose children, to early childhood syndrome, death syndrome, or miscarriages. It's a painful journey, to say the least. And it's hard to recover sometimes. My husband and I really struggled because he didn't understand me as a woman going through that, and I didn't understand him as a man going through that. Like I said, just because he wasn't carrying the child, sometimes I felt more sorry for myself than I felt for him. So that was like both of us were so new at it, we didn't quite know how to handle it. And so after my fifth miscarriage, I was in a lot of sorrow, like, but of course, even as I say sorrow, because I knew the Lord, I mean, God had been speaking to me in each of those, miscarriages. So I wasn't broken, but I was grieving and my body was tired. So I told my husband, who was also grieving in his own way, and we were just both grieving apart instead of together, which was, I don't blame him or myself for it because we were new at this. Who can ever really prepare and know what to do in times like this? So I told him, hey, I want to go back to India. I want to stay with my parents for some time. Please
Sorry,
understand me.
where were you married? I don't think we mentioned
Oh,
that.
my husband was from Nebraska. So when we met, we fell in love. We got married 2 months later, and this was in Colorado.
Okay,
So we
so
had a
that's where
home
you.
in Colorado Springs. Yeah, Colorado Springs was our home. And so I was there the whole time. I hadn't gone home yet for 5 years. So I said, having gone through all of these sadness and being so far away from my own family, I just felt so terribly homesick. I just wanted to be with mommy, with my mom, you know. And he understood me. My husband was kind. He was very kind-hearted in that way, and he understood me. He said, "Okay, Nicole, you can go back." And I said, "I don't know when I'll come back. Maybe after 3 months." When I came back to India, that was in Bangalore. My mom's sister had passed away the year before, and we were going to go to Mizoram to, what do they call it when they put the gravestone in our
Lumpur.
language? Lumpun, yeah. And they wanted to go for that one, and so I said, "I'll follow you," because I had nothing better to do. And I had to stop off in Aizawl because I had an online job. I was teaching in the University of Phoenix as a faculty, teaching arts and humanities and media and American culture. So these are the two subjects I was teaching. So it was online, and since there's no internet in the remote village that they were going to, South Malay Pai, I stayed back in Aizawl and did my work. And so I started visiting orphanages because deep inside, I still just really yearned having a baby of my own. I mean, I had reconciled with taking care of my kids' children, but it wasn't the same. They didn't call me mommy. And when they fell down, they didn't come to me. They went to their own mom,
Yeah.
even no matter how much they loved me. And so I started visiting these orphanages, but then there was this new system in the adoption scenario in India. Everything had to go through Kara. Is it Kara? Yeah, I don't know the long form,
Okay.
but those who know about adoption will. It's a centralized adoption system. And a lot of the orphanages I visited they were not under Kara, so they could not allow adoption, you know? And so I lost hope because inter-country adoption is super difficult. And so I started visiting hospitals, hoping that there would be a young girl or a young woman who was unfortunate and made the wrong decision and wanted to have an abortion. And so I talked to the head nurses and doctors in these hospitals and said, hey, if somebody comes like that, can you tell them there's another option, that they can give up the child? We will take care of their needs and stuff. We're not going to buy the baby, don't get me wrong, but whatever medical expenses that they might be facing, if they need to disappear for some time, we will help them. We just want to support them as best we can so that they don't get an abortion, and we are willing to take care of the child whether it's normal or not. Okay, so that's how desperate I was to have a baby. You can imagine. I just wanted one of my own. By the time we left Aizawl, I was so discouraged. We went back to Bangalore. I had resigned myself to be childless. But since I'm going to be child free, I will travel the world, and I will just do all the things that my sisters who have kids cannot do.
Yeah.
And so I can, I thought about it that way because that's the only way I knew how to console myself. I said, okay, there's always something nice in a bad thing. So I will focus on that something nice. And, I get a call from my mom and she said, congratulations, you're a mom. I was like, what? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she said, there's a baby that was born. This was March 15. Today, a baby girl was born and they put her aside for you. And I said, how is that even possible? Would you like this one? I said, yes, yes, of course. And it was a baby girl. And but I was still afraid to believe, this to be true until I held her in my arms, because I had a near misses before. Like a woman will say, I want to give you my child, and the relatives will claim it, or they change their minds, and that's like having another miscarriage. Booked tickets immediately. I named her Michaela Grace, because of God's grace. But Michaela, my late husband's name was John Michael Glasco. So from Michael, I named her Michaela Grace because it was God's grace to me, and my mom named her Malsomzwali. So Michaela Grace Malsomzwali. Within a night, we named her before meeting her. So we flew to Aizawl. We went to my cousin's place, and the way it happened was that she was in a situation in her life where she couldn't keep her child, but she didn't know what to do with the child, but she didn't want to give up her child to the orphanage. She wanted to get, and when she heard about me, she wanted to give her child to me, not anyone else, And so that's how I came about my daughter. And when I first saw her and held her in my arms, that's when I finally believed that I was a mother. Oh. And I looked at her, this little baby doll, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're my very own now. You're my own. I don't have to share you with anybody. You're mine, And all I could think of was that, God, you're so good to me. You're so good to me. You've given me a baby. And I just could not let her go. So it took 4 years for us to legalize everything. And I was stuck in India because of that. But, the first year I was, of course, it wasn't
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
After you had her? So you got her, was she a newborn?
Yes, a newborn, just 1 day old. And my wow. I even nursed her. I couldn't resist saying that. Yeah. I even nursed her. Yay. I got all the experiences. I even saw her belly button fall. And, it was just an amazing experience, because I got to experience, except for the pregnancy part, I got to experience everything a new mother would.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow. Yeah. But of course, the 4 years, it took a long time because it wasn't quite within the norm that we got her. And I was so afraid to lose her that I didn't want to report it. I didn't want to report it. I just was so afraid, and it was wrong of me to do that. But I just took care of her for a year before we finally reported her to the social welfare of Aizawl, And you should hear all the shenanigans we went through before that.
No,
I was lying to people, saying I gave birth to her and everything. I felt like such a bad child of God, but desperate times,
Yeah, one crazy. Whole year, huh? So I'm sure you had this guilt inside of you, and you're
no, I don't have any guilt. You know why? I had no guilt. I'll tell you why. Because you've heard about, it's illegal to take Bibles to China, some parts of China and all these other places. And there's still some missionaries and Christian workers who smuggle Bibles into the country. So I had no guilt. And God protected us from all the lies we told. But, it was not right. But still, how can you say right or wrong? There's some gray areas in life. Come on.
You are very smart.
We went through some time where we almost got caught once, and in a stupid legal lie we told. And of course, I didn't trust God enough, I feel, in this. We tried to pass her off as our own child and smuggle her into the United States. And I'm saying this because it's all past and we didn't actually break the law by God's grace, but we tried, we attempted it. And when we were going to get caught, my husband was so paranoid and so afraid. It was because of you. You made me do it. You didn't have to do it. I was like, oh my God, it was so comical. But, I was so horrible at lying that they caught me. And they said they wanted a DNA test. And you know what my husband said at that time? He said, God, Nicole, if we believe in God, maybe the DNA, will be like ours. He'll change it. I was like, are you daft? And I was like, if we take a DNA test now, they'll throw us in prison immediately. Are you crazy? If you're on top of a cliff, we're not going to jump down because we know God is going to save us. Come on, we're doing it wrong. So we abandoned that thought, and we finally had the courage to come out and tell the truth. But we went through some stupidity that way because we were so afraid to lose her. But I think I heard that a lot of couples have been thrown into prison because of that very same reason. And it's really sad, I mean, they need to make adoption a little easier, much as I understand why the system is the way it is, because they try to prevent human trafficking, they try to prevent abuse of children who are adopted just to be bonded slaves, I understand all that, but I think there should be another system where truly genuine couples like myself and my late husband, who really desire a baby to love and raise. But we went a long way, and the child welfare department in Aizel were so understanding, and they found a way for us to adopt her legally, and because we couldn't find the birth mother anymore. So it was a kind of roundabout thing, but they followed all the systems in place, that's why it took very long, because it was, and we finally got it done. And, of course, yeah, we finally got it done. She was fully adopted. We're almost able to take her home, but that's another story. But yeah, when we were about to get our daughter to America, unfortunately, yes, my late husband, my husband passed away suddenly. He had spent Christmas with us, and he had gone home. Sorry, I'm fiddling again. He had gone home, to finish up a business deal. And it was very important. So he left, and he was supposed to come back a month later to take us home because we were approved by the immigration to take our daughter home finally. We've been waiting for this day for 4 years. And when he passed away, the INS, immigrations, voided the approval that they had given our daughter to enter the United States because the petitioner died. It's crazy, right? But then, I thought it was really bad at that time. When I look back on it, Candy, I realize God has a hand in all of these, what we consider as misfortunes. So though at that time, I thought it was a terrible thing that all this mishap after mishap after mishap was happening to me. And now I can't even take our daughter home. And I cannot even take her to see her father's grave for the last time, or even see our home in America. It was just hard to understand at that time. But then if you hear the story of my son, you will know why. So there I was, unable to go back to America. I tried 2 times to go to the embassy, American embassy in Chennai, to get a visa for my daughter, because if I tried as a green card holder to get her to America again with the new petition, it would take 2 years to 2.5 years or longer to get approved. During which time, because I'd been staying in India for 4 years now, going back and forth to keep my green card live, I would lose my approval to enter the United States again, because I would be in India longer than I was in America after marriage. Okay, so that danger was there now because it's been 4 years. And so knowing that I would have to be separated from my daughter, who had just lost her father too, and she was not even 4 yet. And she was just, she was 4 in March, and my husband had died in Jan. I couldn't dream of it. And so when I tried to do a visitor's visa and then do a change of status, they kicked me out of the embassy. They treated me like dirt. And it hurt. It was so embarrassing. It hurt and it was embarrassing and everything else. But then I said, okay, fine. Since I cannot take her to America and I cannot dream of being separated from her, and any lawyer that I approach cannot seem to find an easier way, I'll just relocate. So I went back to America, sold everything we had, and came back to India, left America permanently, and relocated in Bangalore with my daughter. A year later, due to an unfortunate situation in my son's life with his birth mom, he was left without anyone to take care of him. And I've known this child from when he was born. Isn't that such an irony? And apparently now I hear that his birth mom had always wanted to give her son to me. And my late husband and I had talked about adopting him too, but we wanted to finish up with our daughter first and go to America and then start adoption with him. His birth mom requested him to be with me. Long story short.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if I had not gone through any of my miscarriages, I would not even have looked for my daughter or found her. If I was able to take my daughter to America, I would not have considered adopting my son. I wouldn't be in a position to. So it's just God really works in miraculous ways behind the scenes that we don't see. And so we think it's a tragedy, but God turns into good things that we go through for those who trust in him.
Right.
And
so he was a little older than when you got your son?
Yes, he was 2.5 years old when I got him. And so we had it legalized through a lawyer, because this was, yeah.
And now it's a happy family of 3.
Yes.
A beautiful family of 3. And like you rightly said, looking back at all the things that you've gone through, you've had to go through for it to culminate to this moment, I think, is
We're
all
a miracle
right?
Story.
Yeah,
a miracle story.
Yeah, a miraculous story, really. But thank you so much for your story. Yours is like a story which gives so much of tears, so much of joy, so much of laughter. It has all the ingredients.
Yes.
Wow. And
it definitely hasn't been boring, I should say. But sometimes I do want the slightly boring life. We need to just, accept and embrace whatever situation we're in and just count our blessings, and absolutely. I have many too.
And you've done that beautifully. I thank you so much for making time for this. As you were saying earlier, this is the first time you're actually going on a public platform like this. And I feel so honored that you chose me. Though I'm so inexperienced, there could also be a reason. Who's to know, right? But yeah, I feel so honored, and I'm so happy to have you. And I'm so happy to see you. And you're so full of life. This is kind of impromptu, but can you sing us a couple of lines, maybe from your favorite song? I wanted to add this on the show, but just didn't have the time to kind of let you know and let you prep. Maybe just a couple of lines, right, from your favorite song.
Unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fear are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Yay! Thank you so much. I know that was impromptu, and I'm sorry. I should have requested you earlier.
Okay.
But that was really special. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you, and I hope you have a great evening. And
thank you.
My love to the beautiful children, and God bless and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Take care, Candy. Love
Bye.
you. Bye.
Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. How strong is your conviction? How strong is your faith? This is on each of us. Instead of asking, why me? Let's ask, why not me? Thank you so much for watching. Do tune in every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, that's 7:30 p.m. IST, to hear more of such incredible stories. Till then, take care. Thank you and God bless. See you soon.